Hello and welcome to this reading. Thank you for being here. I hope you're all well. Before we get started on the messages and the cards, let's just take a deep breath and center ourselves into the present moment. So we'll take a deep breath in and then release. Just feel yourself settling into this moment, ready to receive the messages of this reading. So as we were coming into this video, into this reading, this recording, I had a sense of this kind of clenched fist energy, like a vision of holding on very tightly. And this feels like some kind of element of control, trying to keep things safe, I guess, and known. And of course, when we try to do this, we actually block the flow of anything that wants to come in or be created even. If you can imagine a tube, for example, like a plastic tube, let's say, or a hose pipe, something like that, and there's water flowing through it, and then you grip that pipe, nothing can flow through that. And that's what I was picking up on, just this very tightly clenched fist and the need to be able to release in some way. So you might notice that you've had a lot of tension in your body recently. Maybe there are things taking place in your life that cause you to kind of tense up a little bit. And I will say it makes it very difficult to, like I said, flow into certain things or move energy into spaces that we want to move into if we're holding on so tightly. And this can affect all areas of life. This can affect like relationships of any kind, whether they're romantic or familial or friendships. It can affect our ability to work. It can affect our ability to create, very much so. Because there's almost this feeling of trying to make things a certain way or trying to keep things a certain way because they're the known way of doing things. And if we move into something new, we could potentially be in some kind of danger. And I'm really feeling that this danger is a construct of the mind, that it's something from the past, that we've developed some kind of protective mechanism of almost like seizing up, and this can happen mentally as well, you know, when you're trying to think of something and your mind just freezes. There's something around that clenching and that freezing that needs to be looked at the moment and released. So you could imagine opening your hand, you know, you visualize or actually do it, clench your fist like this, feel how that feels, and then feel how it feels to just release your hand, to just let go, and how much easier that is. There's something around holding the breath as well. All of these things seem to tie together as some kind of protective mechanism, as I said. So let's see what comes through in the cards. How can we work with this energy? Yeah, okay, so the Five of Pentacles, this isn't really surprising because this is a very closed, shut off or shut down kind of energy. Quite often people talk about this card as a card that represents being left out in the cold, a card of lack, a card of poverty, even destitution. If you think about the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there are two people outside. One of them is like carrying crutches and is injured in some way or has some kind of illness. The other one is like shrouded and hunched over, and they're walking past somewhere that looks warm and inviting inside. There's stained glass windows and there's light coming from the inside of a church, probably, I would say. So there's this kind of energy of being, I just heard the words turned away from riches. So turned away from riches could represent many things. It could be the riches, the wealth of love, connection, physical, material, financial wealth. It could be a wealth of creativity that perhaps we feel turned away from sometimes. And this turning away from, I just had this sense then, as if you turn your back to shield yourself, for example, if something was, I don't know, quite a strong example, but something was being hurled at you, for example, you would turn your back. You know, it's a natural instinct. And I just saw like a hedgehog curling up then as well and having its spikes sticking out, because you're protecting your vulnerable spots, you're protecting your organs, like all of the front of you that could be injured, and this is in a physical sense. So energetically, you know, when we're trying to protect ourselves, we can kind of curl into a ball. That's what I'm picking up on. And if you look at the figures in this card here, this one is also like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. She's hunched over, and there's a kind of sadness here and a kind of sense of loss that I'm picking up on as well, which I would usually pick up on through the Five of Cups. But there is something about, you can see the beautiful carving in the background here, this Celtic knotwork, and the two people are turned away from that. They're not facing the beauty of that design, that knotwork. So I just felt as well that this could be related to ancestry. Sometimes I see this as a tombstone in the background. I'm not sure whether it is or not intended to be a tombstone, but something about ancestry as well, and turning away from what is trying to be passed down to us in terms of wisdom, wealth, creative ideas, energy in general that doesn't really need to be labelled, that's trying to come through the bloodline, is what I'm hearing as well. Because this is the Suit of Pentacles, this is a very physical suit. This is to do with physicality, to do with stability, to do with wealth, to do with health as well. So it could be helpful at this time to also kind of straighten up if you notice yourself hunching. Again, like I was saying about this curling forwards to protect ourselves, quite often when we hunch our shoulders like this, maybe we've got into a habit of doing that and our posture isn't great. This may be developed when we were younger, earlier on in life, to protect ourselves if we felt insecure. It can also develop later in life as well, but there's something about protecting the heart that I'm feeling. If you feel when you do this, it actually brings your shoulders in, and it's like a protection over the heart space, to protect from whatever it is that we perceive is going to be attacking us or harming us in some way. And of course, protection is absolutely necessary, and I often talk about energetic protection, but what I mean here is like hypervigilance. So viewing or regarding lots of things or almost everything as a threat. So change as a threat or something to be feared, or people as a threat or something to be feared, or, you know, branching out in a different way or setting something up that is actually quite good for us being perceived as something that's a threat or that can do us harm. There's also with the sense of control with the fist, there's like this idea of if I can just hold on tight enough, or I can just fight hard enough, then I'll be okay, then I'll be safe. The problem with this is that we're fighting off things that actually would do us good or help us moving forwards. So there is something about relaxation. So I just had like Yoga Nidra come through, so look that up if you haven't tried that already. Something to really, really relax the body. Anything related to the vagus nerve, like vagus nerve meditations, exercises, there's lots of that you can find here on YouTube. I actually really recommend Chibs Okereke. He's pretty amazing, like his vagus nerve meditations are very helpful if you'd like to try something like that out. And yeah, any kind of stretches where you can open yourself out rather than being hunched. I also had a sense then of stretching out the spine. So this can be done by, again, coming back to something like yoga. You could do something like child pose, for example. Look that up if you're not familiar with that. That's something that I'll do quite often. And even though it seems as though you're kind of curled over protecting yourself, it's more like giving your spine, I'm hearing, room to breathe. So spacing out your vertebrae in that sense. I also had a sense of hip opening exercises, ways, even if you're just lying on your back, and put your feet together and let your hips fall out, or your knees fall out rather, to the side, and then just opening the hip area out as well, because there's something about clenching in that area. And if we're clenching around the area of the hips, which is the sacral area, then again we are blocking or damming the creative energy that can come through, and also like sexual energy as well. All of that resides in that sacral area, and if we're holding on really tightly, we're not going to feel inspired or alive, or even be able to express our emotions, because that is also our emotional center as well. So of course, when it comes to any of these exercises, like use your own discernment as to whether they're right for your body. I'm not trained in any of this, so it's just suggestions. These are things that I find help me to loosen up and release if I'm feeling kind of blocked up or tense in certain areas. So there's something around planning as well. So strategy is great, planning is great, but there's this thing around, I'm picking up on planning to the nth degree. Let's say like micromanaging everything really can suck the life out of life, basically, and it can suck the life out of us. And so there's no spontaneity, there's no room for growth, there's no room for expression. It's just a very closed down, rigid, I need to control everything kind of mentality. And this is something I'm feeling very strongly at the moment that we need to be stepping away from. And I just heard trusting the fact that we can protect ourselves if needs be. So we have the protection around us of spirit guides that we work with, maybe animal spirits, ancestors. We have all of that external protection. And we also have the protection of our own energetic field, which we can keep healthy by energetically cleansing as often as we can, like preferably once or twice a day. You can do it in the morning, calling your energy back, sending energy away that is not yours, sealing yourself in this kind of energetic protective bubble, and you can visualize that however you like. And you can do it in the evening as well, to clear off anything you might have attracted or got stuck to you during the day. And even checking in during the day when you remember to is very good as well. If you start to feel off for any reason, like a bit don't feel quite right, you can center yourself, take a deep breath, again pull all your energy back in and protect that energy and send away anything that isn't yours. It's basically like energetic hygiene. It's like remembering to brush your teeth in the morning and the evening. And then sometimes you might want to, if you've had something sugary, brush your teeth in the day as well. That's the kind of analogy that I would use. No one wants furry teeth. So let's see what else comes through with the cards. Got the Eight of Wands. There's something that wants to move forwards more quickly. With the Eight of Wands, this is very fast moving energy. It's creative, it's inspirational, it's fiery, it's passionate, and there's something that wants to get going. And if there are things that want to get going within us, maybe like a creative project, or it could be, I don't know, like I'm hearing like a song almost that's coming through. Like this could be related to our soul song. It could be our own signature, our own energetic signature that wants to move in a free way, in a way that actually helps us to move forwards physically as well and not be in this stuck space. So this is what's coming through, where I was talking about the pipe or the hose or something like that, and this, let's visualize the water as energy wanting to come through, and we're like, nope. And it's not, I would say it's not a conscious decision to do that. It's very, very rarely a conscious decision. It's just something that kicks in and we hold on for dear life and we become very rigid. And this is 9 times out of 10 due to fear, if not 10 times out of 10. And so if we want to be moving forwards in the way that this arrow is going to be moving forwards and releasing, if you think about this also, if you think about holding an arrow, that's almost like a fist. It's a little bit looser, but it's like releasing that arrow. So it's releasing ourselves as the arrow and our creative energy as the arrow to move forwards. And things could shift very quickly if we actually allow this energy to move. We could be in a space where we're feeling like, why isn't anything changing? Why isn't anything changing? I want this to change. And we're like holding on for dear life. And so we can't change. We can't have things change around us because we're actually blocking that energy ourselves. Which happens quite often, when we're wanting to move into something new that we know would be really good for us, even though we know it's really good for us or will be, we're still holding on for dear life because it's unknown, it's unfamiliar, and that can be quite scary for certain people. Not for everybody. I think some people thrive on the unknown. Other people like to keep hold of things. It's almost like holding onto the side of the pool instead of swimming in the pool and actually flowing and enjoying being in the water and floating. There's more of a holding onto the side of the pool. And that's okay. This isn't something to give ourselves a hard time about, because there are reasons why we have these mechanisms. There are reasons why these things kick in and we hold on really tightly, likely because of things that we've been through in the past, and we tend to project that into the future. So it's not about being hard on ourselves, it's about being kind to ourselves and finding ways to nurture ourselves as we move forwards. And you may have heard the saying, let go and let God. That just came through. And I just heard, let go and let yourself. There's a guiding force within each of us that is our true self. And it's not about being guided by external forces like spirit guides. They can be helpful. Obviously, they're called spirit guides, and so they can help to guide us. But I'm really feeling that there's something about releasing the need to lean so much on these things. They're there if we need them, but at the same time, it's almost like battery's a bit low. It's almost like a child learning to walk. You can hold that child's hand, and that's what our guides do. But it's also helpful to let go and let them do their own thing. And if they do fall down, then you can help them back up, or maybe they can do it themselves, and then carry on and try again. And the same thing around riding a bike, for example. You can hold on to the saddle of the bike while the child goes along, and then eventually you let that go and the child rides the bike by itself. And so I feel like that's where we're at the moment, is being that child, getting to the point where we can ride by ourselves or we can walk by ourselves. And it's not to say that we can't ask for help either, but this just feels like a very important time to grow that kind of independence as we release control. So we've got the world card. Got to cover this up because YouTube. So yeah, end of a cycle. We're coming to the end of a cycle where we need to hold on so tightly. This is the releasing of a cycle before we move into a new one. And you can see how the woman here has got her arms open, also her hips are open, her legs. And this is what I was saying about that open posture, being able to find that sense of relief I just heard in letting go of the side of the pool or gripping onto something so tightly. The more we can breathe and find ways to release the tension from our bodies, the more great things are going to flow in because we're not pushing them out, and the more that great things are going to flow from us as well. And it can be a two-way street, like a mutual experience in that sense. So we are transforming, we've got the butterflies here in this card. We are all moths. We are transforming, we are changing, we are shifting. So if you feel like you're not, don't worry, you are. You're not actually stuck. This is just a learning process, and you will move through it in the same way that you've moved through all learning processes. You've got this, don't worry about it too much. I know it's hard not to worry sometimes, but just know that this is a part of the process, and that's okay. So I'm going to pull one more card, and we're going to go with the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Let's see what wants to come through. Nearly dropped them all. Don't release my grip too much when I'm shuffling the cards. The Heart of Sky. So this is 24 and it comes down to a 6. So, 6 can be very much about moving on, shifting, changing into something new, different. It can also be a card of balance as well, reciprocity, or a number of balance and reciprocity rather. The Heart of Sky, I really feel like this is about releasing our heart center. That's what I just heard. So it's, I was saying about the shoulders back and not hunching and like protecting the heart in that sense. I think I mentioned the other day about a shell, like a hard shell around the heart. So we're still moving through this time of releasing that, whatever that is. I'm just gonna have to do it this way. Cover. Sorry about this. I don't care about nudity, but YouTube does. There's a spiral here in the center of this woman's chest, and so there's this spiraling outwards, this loosening, this unraveling, let's say, of this tight energy that we've held around the heart for protection. And that's what this is about, the heart of sky. I just get this sense of letting the heart expand outwards, you know, connecting with the universe, with space, with all of the stars. And actually all of that is within us as well as out there. So there's something about connecting in with the stars. I believe when I talked about Odin's messages the other day, when I shared those, he was saying something about the star people. I think there's something about star energy, the cosmos, the universe. So this is coming through again quite strongly here as well. Yeah. And I just heard open your eyes. So maybe there's something around, like, you know, when we might be scared of something, or I don't know, if you've ever watched like a horror movie or something like that, and you close your eyes because you're scared, or you go on a ride, like a ride at an amusement park or something like that, or a theme park, and you close your eyes because you're too scared to look. There's something about keeping your eyes open. Your eyes need to be open to move into this new phase. So there could be some clearing around the third eye as well. I'm just hearing keep your eyes and ears open, so there could be opportunities that are trying to present themselves. And when we're so closed and frightened and holding ourselves like this, we can't see what's going on around us. Okay, we'll do one more. I'm feeling like there's another message that wants to come through, and then we'll close out. Okay, we'll do three more, because they're all stuck together. Okay, so what do we have here? We have the Knight, be brave and honest. We have Mirror, Guardian, take time to reflect. And we have Guardian Angel, you're not alone. So there are messages coming through at this time. Maybe you are seeing feathers. Maybe you're seeing, I just heard something about the stars, so going outside and looking up at the stars, which is something I love to do, and looking at the vast expanse of that. There's a message there which is coming through that you can pick up on when you get quiet enough to just be still, observe the stars, be outside, feel the air on your skin. There's something about that that's going to help you to release this kind of tight energy. With the Mirror Guardian, like we've got Guardian Angel here, and we've also got Mirror Guardian, and you see all the stars in the background. There is something coming through here around being safe to move forwards. What I was saying earlier about that protection, it's all there. And I'm just getting the sense of looking within. And you know, I was just talking about the heart of sky. You can see all these stars here. If you look here, this woman's looking in a mirror, and she can see stars. So this is what I was talking about. This is like this infinite expanse that lives within us, within our hearts. And there's some green here as well. Like there's a little galaxy or something that you can see, or a nebula. And there's green there, and there's green also mirrored in the angel's wings as well. So it's saying take time to reflect. So yeah, standing outside, looking at the stars, reflecting on where it is that you can loosen your grip, reflecting on perhaps why it's there. And I'm going to say don't get stuck in the why. You don't need to get stuck in the why of why it's there. It's more like, oh, it is there. It's still there. And I can see why it's probably there, but I'm not going to go back into that kind of energy of the past. Just going to keep relaxing, just going to keep releasing and letting this energy move through freely. And the Knight, be brave and honest. Be honest with ourselves when we are afraid to move forwards. There's no shame in feeling afraid. Everybody experiences fear. Be honest with ourselves when we are afraid to take that next step, when we're afraid to speak our truth, when we're afraid to have a conversation with someone, when we're afraid to create something and share it with the world. It's okay. It's okay to be afraid. You know, there's that old saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. Great book by Susan Jeffers. Just feel it, know that it's there, comfort yourself, be kind to yourself, and move forwards anyway. You know, be brave and honest. Be brave. Keep moving forwards. Rest when you need to, but do keep moving. And again, we've got this protection here. This is the protection of the heart. And we can still have that energetic protection, but it's not about clamping shut or having that closed fist to the world. This is about opening and releasing and letting go and allowing. Allowing is a big word. That's a big word coming through now, big energy of breathe and allow. Yeah, beautiful messages. So thank you so much for being here. There goes the batteries trying to go again. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of you for buying me a coffee, donating, subscribing, commenting, liking, all of the things. I really appreciate it. I love speaking to you all. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with other people, and of course consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. And I will speak to you all next time. Sending you all much love. Bye bye.